this week's video, I'm going to be offering some tips on what to do in the event that your baby is waking up every hour to feed overnight. So look, my first tip here is to ensure that your baby is feeding really well through the day. Babies and toddlers are very good at controlling their own calories. And what that means is if they're snacking or not feeding that well through the day, or they're a little bit too distracted, or they're not that interested, what you'll probably find is that your baby wakes up overnight to make up for what they didn't have through the day. And that's a very common scenario that I see with the families that I work with. It's so exhausting, it's extremely common, but on a positive, it's all fixable. So my first tip here is to work on daytime calories first, because what we don't want to do, we don't want to just cut them off altogether at night. That's not going to achieve anything. It's just going to be chaos at night, and it's going to come with a lot of unnecessary crying, and it's going to backfire. So what we want to do without doing anything else, no sleep training, no hardcore stuff, we just want to work on daytime calories. So if you're in a situation where your baby is waking up every hour or two at night to feed, what we want to do is switch it up. Off them a feed every hour or two through the day over the next 24, 48, 72 hours at the most, just until those calories start to kind of balance itself out. And we're not force feeding. This is not what this is about. We are just giving them the opportunity to feed during the day more often than what they were doing previously. And that might be 3 or 4 minutes on the breast. And that's okay, because all those little bits of extra that you're offering through the day is going to start making a difference at night. Now, whether your baby can self-soothe or not at this stage, at the moment, is irrelevant. What you want to try and work out is making sure that they're full and content overnight. So any settling strategies that you do try to implement will be successful, because all the rocking, patting, swaying, anything that you do at nighttime won't work if they're genuinely hungry. And this is the biggest challenge that I see. You know, I do see parents, they talk to me and they say, I've tried rocking, I've tried patting, I've tried everything, but they won't go back to sleep unless they're being fed. And that's because they're genuinely hungry. And you know, we can't deprive them of that, because they're just going to keep waking up and they're going to be hungry. So like I said, the way to balance that out and the way to try to rectify that without doing any hardcore sleep training is to ensure that they're getting the adequate feeds and calories they need through the day. You know, it also comes down to timings as well when it comes to their naps, making sure that they're napping well through the day, making sure that they're not going to bed overtired. All those factors are really important when it comes to sleeping through the night. But if you are in that position and predicament where your baby's waking frequently and feeding, then what you want to do is work on those daytime calories first. Once you've established a little bit better of a routine with daytime calories, or you've seen a little bit of an improvement, then what you can try to do overnight is try to stall the feeding a little bit. So when your baby does wake, and if it's only been an hour or 2 or even 3, try to do some soothing techniques to begin with, whether it's patting or rubbing or holding or doing whatever you can to try and stall that feed to 4 hours. Because your success rate of soothing and, you know, getting them back to sleep when their tummy is fuller is a lot higher. The success rate is going to be a lot better. So that's the tip 1. Tip 2 is when they do show that they are genuinely hungry and you cannot stall anymore. Now, even if it's at the 3 hours, that's okay. But what you want to ensure at that 3 hour mark when you do feed them at nighttime is make sure they're really engaged with the feed. Don't just wang them on the breast or give them a bottle and the lights are all off and they have a few sucks and they go back to sleep. That is not what we want here. We want them to be really engaged with that feed. And sometimes that might mean it's until things have been a little bit more established or until things have improved significantly, feed them with the light on. Strip them off a little bit so they're really engaged with that feed. You don't want them latching on for 3 or 4 minutes and then falling back asleep, because what's actually happening in that, they're getting on there for comfort, they're having a little feed, but it's not filling up their tummy. And that's not what we want. We want them to be interacted, we want them to be really engaged, we want them to feed really well, and we want them to go back to bed. Now, whether or not they fall asleep on the breast with the bottle at that point, not ideal, but again, it's not the end of the world if they've had a full feed. Put them back to bed, and then we hope if their tummy's full and they had a really good feed at that 3 or 4 hour mark, then we're hoping we're going to get another good 3 or 4 hours out of them. And the more practice you do and the more mindful you are with those daytime calories, the better success you're going to get overnight. And it takes time, but practice makes perfect. But again, at the end of the day, it is all about the calories. And anyone who's ever worked with me, anyone who's got the app knows, and all this information is in the app, whether it's food guides because your baby's on solids or milk guides because your baby's too young, all the information is about this is inside the app, along with settling techniques to help your little one get back to sleep in the event that they're waking and you know that they're full, there's obviously all that information there to help you as well. So look, I hope this helps and gives you a bit of an overview of what to do moving forward, and I'll see you in next week's video.